The ship moved through space without sound, but everyone on board felt something was wrong. The stars outside looked the same as always, yet the air inside the ship felt thinner, quieter, and strangely heavy. The ardent wake had passed through hundreds of unknown regions before, but this one felt different. Not dangerous, just empty. Mara Hale sat in the engineering bay reading numbers that made no sense. The temperature sensor showed stable readings. The life support systems were working perfectly. Energy levels were normal. Nothing was broken. And yet her fingers felt stiff as she tapped the screen. She flexed her hands and frowned. "Computer," she said calmly. "Confirm ambient temperature in engineering." "Ambient temperature is 21 degrees Celsius, the ship's AI replied. Its voice was smooth and neutral as always. That should have been comfortable. But it didn't feel that way. Mara stood up and rubbed her arms. The fabric of her uniform felt colder than it should have been, like it had been left near a window in winter. She took a few steps, then paused. Her breath looked normal. No fog, no sign of cold air. And yet her body insisted otherwise. She wasn't the only one. Across the ship, small signs appeared. A crew member paused in a hallway, confused by the sudden chill in their bones. Another adjusted their thermal controls again and again, growing frustrated when nothing changed. The ship was full of different species, each with their own needs, their own limits. Many of them depended completely on controlled environments to survive. Humans were different. They noticed discomfort, but they did not stop. Mara walked toward the shared crew quarters, her boots quiet against the floor. As she passed by, she noticed 2 Cathari crew members huddled closer together than usual. Their skin, normally bright and patterned, looked dull and tight. "Are you okay?" Mara asked gently. One of them nodded, but the movement was slow. "The air feels wrong," the Cathari said. "It is not cold, but it takes warmth away." Mara didn't know how to answer that. She could only nod and keep walking. Later, when the ship entered its rest cycle, the lights dimmed and the corridors grew quiet. Mara lay on her sleeping platform, staring at the ceiling. The ship made its usual soft sounds, but something felt off, like the space between those sounds had grown larger. She pulled her blanket tighter around herself. It helped, but only a little. That was when she heard movement. The door to the sleeping compartment slid open slowly. Mara turned her head, already alert. Standing in the doorway was Sarah. Sarah was not human. Her species came from a world where temperatures rarely changed. Her body was tall and slender, her skin pale with faint silver lines that glowed softly when she was calm. Right now, those lines were dim. "I'm sorry," Sarah said quietly. Her voice trembled, just a little. "I know this is not proper, but I cannot sleep." Mara sat up.
"What's wrong?"
Sarah hesitated. Her eyes moved to the floor, then back to Mara. "I feel empty. My core heat is fading, even though the ship says it should not be." Mara swung her legs over the side of the platform. "Did medical check you? Yes?" "Twice. They say I am fine." "Ooh." Sarah paused, then added, almost embarrassed, "But I am not fine." There was silence between them. Not awkward, just heavy. "I read about humans," Sarah said softly. "About how you survived cold worlds before you learned to control them, how you share warmth." Mara understood then. Her face softened.
"You want to stay here?"
she asked. Sarah nodded. "Just for a while. I need—" "Your warmth." Mara didn't laugh. She didn't tease. She simply lifted the edge of the blanket. "Come on," she said. Sarah moved carefully, like she was afraid of doing something wrong. She crawled under the covers and lay beside Mara. keeping a respectful distance at first, but within minutes, her body shifted closer without thinking. Mara felt it immediately. The cold didn't disappear, but it stopped getting worse. Her own body responded the way it always had. Heat spread naturally, quietly, without effort. She didn't even notice she was doing it. Sarah did. She let out a slow breath. The silver lines on her skin brightened. Just a little. "This helps," Sarah whispered.
I did not expect it to help this much. Mara smiled faintly in the dim light.
"Humans are good at surviving things we don't understand." They lay there in silence. Outside, space continued to pull at the ship in ways no sensor could measure. Elsewhere on the ardent wake, the ship's AI was watching. It noticed that Sarah's body temperature had stabilized. It noticed that Mara's energy output had increased slightly, even though she was resting. It ran the numbers again and again. The data did not match any known model. In medical, 2 more non-human crew members reported the same strange sensation: cold without cold, loss without damage. The ship's system showed no failure, no threat, but something was stealing warmth, quietly, slowly, and the humans, without trying, were pushing back. As Mara drifted toward sleep, she felt Sarah relax fully for the first time since entering the region. Her breathing evened out. Her body stopped shaking. Mara closed her eyes, unaware that this small, simple act would soon change how the galaxy understood humanity. Not as warriors, not as conquerors, but as something far rarer, a source of warmth the universe itself had failed to account for. When the ship entered the next cycle, things did not improve. They became clearer in small, troubling ways. Sarah woke first. She did not open her eyes right away. For the first time in days, she did not feel hollow. The strange, draining sensation in her core had eased during the night. She could still sense it, like a distant echo, but it was no longer pulling at her constantly. She became aware of warmth, not the artificial warmth of controlled air, but something alive, steady, present. She shifted slightly and realized she was closer to Mara than she remembered, close enough to feel the rise and fall of the human's breathing. Sarah froze, suddenly worried she had crossed a boundary, but Mara did not move. Her face was calm in sleep, one arm loosely bent near Sarah, not touching, but close enough that the warmth reached her easily. Sarah slowly sat up. As soon as she did, the cold returned. It was not sudden. It crept back into her body like a shadow sliding across a wall. Her silver lines dimmed again, and she wrapped her arms around herself, confused and afraid. Mara stirred.
You okay? Sarah looked at her.
When I moved away, it came back. Mara frowned, now fully awake. She sat up and pulled the blanket around both of them again. "Then don't move away yet." Sarah hesitated, then lay back down. Almost immediately, the draining feeling slowed. Neither of them spoke for a long moment. "This is not logical," Sarah said quietly. Mara gave a small smile. "That hasn't stopped the universe before." Later that day, the ship's corridors felt different, quieter, not because fewer people were moving, but because those who were moving did so slowly, carefully, as if afraid that too much motion would take something from them. Medical was full. Crew members from several species sat or lay on examination platforms. None of them were injured. None of them showed signs of illness. And yet, all of them reported the same thing. "I feel thinner. My warmth leaks away. I am tired, but sleep does not help." The human doctor, Eli Carter, listened carefully. He checked scans, blood samples, and neurological readings. Everything looked normal. "What happens when you are near a human?" he asked one of the patients, a small avian species called Rel. The Rel tilted its head. "Near humans, it is easier to breathe. I did not think it mattered." Eli exchanged a glance with another human medic. That question was asked again, and again. Each time, the answer was similar. Near humans, the cold slowed. In engineering, Mara reviewed system data while the ship's AI quietly updated models in the background. Computer, Mara said, show me crew thermal stability over the last 2 cycles. The display filled with lines and charts. At first it looked random. Then patterns emerged. Clusters. Every stable reading appeared around human crew members. The farther someone was from a human, the worse the thermal loss became. That's not possible, Mara muttered. Correction, the AI replied. It is possible, it is simply not explained. The captain called a meeting. The command room filled slowly. Crew members took seats closer together than usual. Humans noticed without comment. Non-humans did it, without thinking. Captain Ilion stood at the center. Her skin, once bright blue, looked duller now. We are not in immediate danger, she said, but we are not safe either. She gestured to the display behind her. We are in a region of space that does not behave. As expected, it does not attack.
It does not damage. It removes something more subtle.
Eat, someone said. Energy, another added. Comfort, a third whispered. The captain nodded. Yes, she paused. We have discovered that humans slow this effect. All eyes turned toward the human crew. No one looked proud. No one looked afraid. They looked confused. This is not a request, Captain Ilion continued. It is a necessity. Until we leave this region, we must adjust how we live aboard this ship. She took a breath.
Humans will no longer be assigned private quarters.
The room was silent.
You will be distributed among the crew, the captain said.
Shared spaces, sleeping areas, work rotations. A murmur spread through the room. Some non-human crew members looked relieved. Others looked embarrassed. Mara felt Sarah shift beside her. Ooh.
This is strange, Sarah whispered.
Mara nodded. But strange is better than frozen? The changes began immediately. Humans moved into common areas. Sleeping platforms were rearranged. Blankets were shared. Non-human crew members gathered closer, drawn by instinct rather than orders. No one spoke of discomfort. No one made jokes. Something about the cold made everything serious. The ship's AI watched closely. Where humans stayed, entropy loss slowed. Not stopped, but slowed enough to matter. It adjusted lighting, airflow, and schedules to keep humans moving gently through the ship, never isolated, never overworked. This feels wrong, Eli said quietly as he reviewed data. Like we're batteries. The AI responded without emotion.
You are not being drained. You are generating surplus thermal stability.
Eli frowned. That doesn't make it better. Mara noticed something else. The warmth did not come only from bodies. It grew stronger when humans talked, when they laughed softly, when they told stories or shared memories. Sarah noticed it too. One evening she listened as Mara described snow. Not the artificial kind, but the real thing. Cold that hurt your face. Cold that humans faced willingly, even happily. As children, we played in it. Mara said. We came back inside shaking but smiling. Sarah's silver lines glowed brighter as she listened. That memory has warmth, she said. Mara blinked.
It does. Yes.
When you speak of it, I feel stronger. The AI recorded that observation. Outside the ship, space pressed in. The region they were crossing showed no stars, no light, just a vast quiet that seemed to swallow energy itself. The ship was not fighting it. The humans were, without knowing how, without meaning to. And as the hours passed, it became clear that this was only the beginning, because the cold was not satisfied. It was learning. And so was humanity. The change was not sudden. It never was.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
That was what made it frightening. At first, the ship's crew thought things were improving. The cold did not worsen as quickly. More non-human crew members stabilized when they stayed near humans. Sleep returned in short, shallow stretches. The constant trembling faded, but something else replaced it. A pressure. Not physical, not something that showed on any sensor. It was a feeling, shared quietly between crew members who passed each other in the halls. A sense of being noticed. Mara felt it while working in engineering. She paused in the middle of recalibrating a system she had already checked twice. She had the sudden, strange feeling that if she stopped moving, something would take more from her. She shook her head and kept working. Across the ship, Sarah felt it too. She was sitting in a shared rest area, surrounded by 2 humans and another non-human crew member. The warmth was steady, comforting, and yet something tugged at the edges of her awareness.
It is watching, she said suddenly.
The humans looked at her. Who? One asked. Sarah hesitated.
I do not know, but the cold feels curious now.
That word unsettled them more than fear would have. The ship's AI noticed new patterns.
Entropy loss was no longer even. It spiked in areas where humans gathered for long periods, then softened again, as if adjusting. As if testing. Computer, Mara said later, her voice low. Is the region responding to us? There was a pause, longer than normal.
Yes, the AI replied. Interaction probability has increased by 12%.
Mara swallowed.
So it's not just space.
No, the AI said. It is a system. That information reached the captain quickly. A second meeting was called. Smaller this time. Only key crew members, humans and non-humans, sat together, closer than ever. No one complained. This region is not empty, Captain Ilian said. It behaves like an ancient environmental process, one that removes excess energy to maintain balance.
Like a sink, Eli said. Yes, the captain replied, but it has never encountered humans before. Silence followed.
Sarah spoke carefully. You do not simply resist it. You confuse it. The AI confirmed this. Human thermal and emotional output does not align with expected decay models. Feedback loops are forming. Mara leaned back in her chair. So what happens if it decides to correct that?
No one answered.
That night, sleep was harder. The warmth still worked, but dreams became strange. Humans dreamed of standing in snow that did not melt. Non-humans dreamed of warmth slipping through their grasp like water. Mara dreamed of a hand reaching toward a fire, stopping just short. She woke suddenly, heart racing. Sarah was already awake, sitting upright beside her. It is closer, Sarah whispered. The cold pressed in again. Not stronger, smarter. Lights dimmed across the ship without command. Bah. Systems compensated automatically, but the feeling remained. The space outside the ship seemed darker than before, if that was even possible. Crew members gathered instinctively. Humans found themselves surrounded, hands touching shoulders, backs pressed together. No one ordered it. The AI adjusted course slightly.
Why?
Captain Ilian asked. Thermal stability increases when humans experience emotional focus, the AI replied. Fear reduces efficiency. Calm improves it.
Then help us stay calm, the captain said.
The AI did something unexpected. It opened ship-wide audio. Soft human sounds filled the ship, recorded voices, laughter, old songs, simple melodies humans used when they worked or rested. Mara recognized one, her grandmother's voice, telling a story about a winter storm back on Earth. Sarah gasped softly. The silver lines on her skin flared bright. This is not heat, she said. This is memory. Across the ship, the cold slowed again. The region reacted. Sensors showed ripples in the void around the ship, not waves, not energy. Something like attention. The AI struggled to model it. It is attempting to adapt, it said. How? Eli asked. It is increasing entropy draw in human-dense areas. Mara clenched her jaw, so it's targeting us.
Yes, the ship trembled, not from force, but from imbalance.
Systems worked harder to maintain equilibrium. The cold pressed deeper, testing limits. Humans grew tired, not collapsing.
Not breaking, but tired in a way that reached the bones.
Still, they stayed. They talked. They touched hands. They shared stories and quiet jokes. Some cried softly without knowing why. The warmth held, barely. Sarah watched Mara carefully. You are weakening, she said. Mara smiled faintly. We always do. That's not the same as giving up.
Sarah did not understand that fully, but she felt its truth.
The AI made a decision. Captain, it said, I recommend reducing human output. The captain frowned. How? By forcing isolation. The room went still. No, Mara said immediately. That will kill them. And you, Sarah added. The AI processed this. Correct. Outcome unacceptable. Then what? The captain asked. The AI paused. Humans are not infinite, it said. But they are adaptable. If they understand the system, they may change the interaction. Mara looked up. You're saying we need to respond, not resist. Yes, Sarah tilted her head. The cold takes without intent. But now it listens. Mara closed her eyes. Then maybe, she said slowly, we need to show it something else. The ship drifted deeper into the region. The cold waited. And for the first time since entering that empty, dark humanity prepared not to endure, but to speak back to the universe in the only language it had ever truly mastered. Warmth, shared. The ship no longer felt like a machine moving through space. It felt like a living thing holding its breath. Every system was still working, but only just. Power flowed carefully, guided by the AI like water through narrow paths. The cold did not push harder. It waited, watching, learning. Mara sat on the floor of a shared room, her back against the wall. Around her were humans and non-humans alike. No one spoke loudly anymore. Words felt heavy, as if the space itself listened too closely. Sarah sat beside her, closer than before. She no longer hesitated. The warmth was not a comfort now. It was necessary.
You are planning something, Sarah said softly. Mara nodded.
We have... The captain stood nearby, speaking quietly with the AI through a private channel. Her posture was steady, but her eyes showed strain. We cannot fight it, the captain said. And we cannot run fast enough. Correct, the AI replied. However, this system does not understand intention, only balance. Then teach it, the captain said. The AI paused, longer than ever before. Humans emit warmth through physical and emotional processes, it said. They also restrain themselves naturally. Mara looked up. What do you mean? Humans regulate, the AI replied. You do not release everything at once. You pace. You share. You choose. Sarah's eyes widened slightly. You are saying the cold does not understand choice. Yes, the AI said. It takes because that is its function. Humans give because that is theirs.
Silence spread through the room. Mara stood slowly.
Her legs felt weak, but she stayed upright. So instead of resisting, she said, "We offer." Sarah turned toward her sharply. "That sounds dangerous."
It is, Mara replied honestly.
"But not violent, not destructive." The captain stepped closer.
Explain. Mara took a breath. We stop reacting.
We stopped trying to protect every bit of warmth. We let the system see how humans handle loss.
The room grew still. We don't collapse, Mara continued.
We adapt, we slow down. We lean on each other. We don't burn out. We endure.
The AI processed this rapidly. You propose controlled exposure. Yes, Mara said.
Together, on purpose. Sarah's voice trembled. You would weaken yourselves. Mara looked at her. We already are.
This just makes it mean something. The plan was simple, which made it frightening.
Humans would gather in one central area, not to create a strong heat source, but to make their warmth clear. Measured. Shared. Emotional as well as physical. No hiding, no shielding. The AI would reduce compensation systems slowly, allowing the region to observe how humans responded to loss without panic. Non-human crew members would stay close but not interfere. It will watch, Sarah said, and it will test you. Mara smiled faintly. It already is. The ship adjusted. Lights softened. Airflow slowed. The constant quiet hum of support systems lowered just enough to be noticeable. The cold deepened. Humans felt it immediately. Muscles tightened. Breathing grew heavier. Skin prickled. But no one screamed. No one ran. They sat. They talked quietly. Some held hands. Some leaned shoulders together. Mara felt the drain pull at her core, steady and patient. She focused on breathing, on Sarah beside her, on the sound of voices. Sarah watched closely. She had seen humans endure hardship before. But this was different. There was no enemy, no force to push against, only absence. And humans filled it anyway. One human began to hum softly. Another joined in. It was not a song meant for performance, just sound. Simple and steady. The cold hesitated. Sensors showed fluctuations in the region, not spikes. Confusion. Entropy draw increased, then dropped. The AI spoke quietly. It is adjusting. Mara closed her eyes. She felt tired, very tired, but not afraid. She thought of fire pits, of crowded rooms in winter, of strangers sharing warmth because it was the right thing to do. Sarah felt something strange. The cold touched her, then pulled back, like a hand unsure whether it was welcome.
It does not understand why you are not breaking, she whispered. Mara smiled weakly.
We learned a long time ago that warmth is more than survival. The region reacted again, not stronger, clearer. Space around the ship shifted in subtle ways. No light appeared, no shape formed. But the pressure changed. The feeling of being watched turned into something closer to listening. The AI confirmed it. The system is re-evaluating human output classification.
The captain let out a slow breath.
Is that good?
Yes, the AI said.
It no longer categorizes you as excess.
The cold eased slightly. Not gone, but less hungry. Humans felt it and did not celebrate. They stayed where they were, together. Sarah felt warmth bloom inside her that had nothing to do with temperature.
You are teaching it restraint, she said in awe. Mara opened her eyes.
No. We're showing it we don't vanish when things are taken. The ship drifted onward. The region did not drain faster. It slowed, as if considering, as if learning. And for the first time since entering the dark, the ardent wake was no longer just surviving. It was changing the rules. The release did not come like an escape. There was no sudden burst of motion, no sharp return of stars, no clear moment where the cold ended. Instead, it faded the way a long night fades into morning. Slowly, carefully, as if the universe itself did not want to wake anyone too fast. Mara noticed it first in her breathing. The tight pull in her chest eased. Not fully, but enough that each breath felt less like work. Her fingers, which had been stiff for days, loosened. The deep tiredness remained, but it no longer felt endless. Around her, other humans felt it too. No one spoke. They simply looked up, sensing the change without trusting it yet. Sarah felt it even more strongly. She had grown used to the cold, to the constant need to stay close to warmth. When the pressure eased, her body reacted before her mind did. Her silver lines brightened, then steadied into a soft, healthy glow she had not seen since before entering the region. "It is letting go," she whispered. The ship's AI confirmed it seconds later. "Entropy draw is decreasing across all sectors," it said. "Rate of loss approaching baseline." The captain closed her eyes. For the first time since entering the region, she allowed herself to sit down. No one cheered, no one rushed away. Humans stayed where they were, still close, still sharing space. The lesson had already been learned. Outside the ship, space changed. The darkness thinned, not by becoming bright, but by becoming neutral. The strange pressure that had filled the void softened into something quiet and distant, like a thought moving on. Sensors struggled to describe it.
"It is disengaging," the AI said. "Not rejecting.
Releasing. Mara leaned back against the wall, like it got what it needed, or learned it no longer needs to take, Sira said. The ship drifted forward. Stars appeared again. First one, then many. Familiar constellations returned, almost shyly, as if checking to see whether the ship still belonged among them. The ardent wake was leaving the region, not because it forced its way out, because it was allowed to go. Medical scans began immediately. Crew members were checked carefully. No damage, no lasting harm, just deep exhaustion, especially among the humans. The AI adjusted schedules without being asked. Humans were given rest rotations. Non-human crew members remained close by choice, not need. Sarah refused to return to her private quarters. "Not yet," she said. "I prefer shared space." Mara understood. In the quiet that followed, the crew began to talk. Not urgently, not fearfully, but with the slow wonder of people who had experienced something that would take years to explain.
"What was it?" someone asked.
"A natural system," another said. "A place," said a third. "Older than our maps." The captain listened, then spoke softly. "It was a balance mechanism, one that had never met us before. Reports were prepared for transmission." Data logs compiled. The AI helped organize everything, but it flagged something important.
"Human classification requires update," it said. The captain raised an eyebrow.
"How so?" "Humans are currently listed as adaptable endurance species," the AI replied. "This is insufficient." Mara glanced up. "What are you changing it to?" There was a pause. "Humans demonstrate sustained thermal, emotional, and social output under entropy pressure," the AI said. "They are not excess. They are stabilizers." The word spread quietly through the ship. Stabilizers. When the ardent wake reached open space and transmitted its findings, the response from the wider galaxy was cautious disbelief. At first, scientists studied the data, Philosophers argued over meaning. Engineers focused on the impossible numbers. No species had ever altered a natural entropy sink through behavior alone. But the recordings did not lie. Humans did not overpower the system. They did not break it. They showed it something new. Sarah recorded her own account. She struggled with the words.
In the presence of humans, she said, warmth becomes more than temperature. It becomes persistence.
When warmth is taken, humans do not vanish. They remain. They adapt. They choose to stay together. Her report was shared widely. So was the footage of humans sitting quietly in the cold, humming softly, holding hands, refusing to collapse. The galaxy listened. Weeks later, new classifications appeared in shared databases. Humans were no longer listed only as explorers, or engineers, or survivors. They were listed as anchors. Places where humans lived became known as warm zones, not because of climate, but because systems behaved differently around them. Entropy loss slowed, recovery rates improved. Long voyages planned for human presence, not as labor, but as balance. Mara read the updates in silence. She did not feel proud. She felt tired and quietly content. One evening, as the ship continued its journey, Sarah joined her by a viewport. "Do you think it will remember you?" Sarah asked, gazing into the stars. Mara thought for a moment.
I don't know.
"But I think it learned." Sarah nodded. "It was never cruel, only incomplete." They stood together, watching light pass through the dark. Far behind them, the region settled back into its ancient role. It continued to take warmth from the universe, but now differently, carefully. As if aware that some warmth, when shared, did not need to be consumed. Records would later show that no ship ever vanished there again. The region became known, quietly, as a place to watch. Not for danger, but for understanding. And among humans, the story was told more simply. They spoke of a time when the universe grew cold, and humanity stayed warm, together.